to Sticking to the Truth with Julene Jackson and Debbie Jansen. Julene and I have gone to great lengths to be nice, accommodating, kind, and careful about our Democratic friends. I hope you feel that because we've been doing that. I still want to do that, but I'm having a hard time. Unfortunately, during President Trump's State of the Union address, the shutdown over Homeland Security and the takedown of Iran's Supreme Leader Khomeini, I'm sorry, I'm going to mispronounce that. I am increasingly fed up with the lies and mean spirits of the Democratic Party. Julene, I'm a little like a mother of 12 on wash day. I'm frustrated and just tired of Democrats. Their tactics, their screaming, disrespect, and pure lies make me want to drink Pepto Bismol and send them all to their room. Have you ever done that? It's maddening bad behavior. It's kind of like my grandmother used to say, their head is full of stump water. She was so funny. But I can clearly see them. I can see their hatred for Americans and their love for criminals. I can see them, and it's driving me crazy. But before we discuss this bubbling riches brew, Julene, how are you doing today?
You've said so many things that make me just stop. A mother of 12 on wash day. Yes, I have had many of those days. And so does the stump water go in the bubbling witch's brew?
We can make it go there.
I like the way your grandma and your mama thought, I think that's wonderful. Well, I'm in my little city apartment today. I'm in Utah, and I've been babysitting my little one and only grandbaby this week
Yay.
because my daughter had to fly out here to Utah to be a part of the largest genealogical conference in the world. Like
Wow.
prominent record keepers from all nations have come in, and lots of people. And she had to host 30 VIPs from Africa. So she oversees the work of genealogy, collecting oral histories and so forth in the whole continent of Africa. So, these kids, and then I had my little son-in-law, who's just been married to my daughter about 4 months, come over a few days ago for a little brunch after church. Now, he wasn't able to go to church. It was Sunday because he had taken a private jet to Las Vegas to cut open the heart of a man who had died, get his heart, pack it in ice, fly it back to Utah, and put it in a woman, and he was a part of a heart transplant. So, I'm
This is so exciting.
just thinking that there is so much going on in our lives, everyone's life. There's many moving parts just within the four walls, of our home and our little families, not to mention what is going on in the world right now, in our
Yeah.
country and in the world, And so I always like to tell myself when things are really rocking and rolling, right? In our country and internationally, that the most important work that we can do, the greatest acts of patriotism that we will ever perform, will be within the four walls of our home, because you know, we go on to produce the future leaders of the
Yes.
world. And so our energies we need to make sure that we're buttoned up and we're on it and we're attending, to the people that we love needs. And then ultimately, yes, we have to, be knowledgeable citizens, right? And contribute to some of the bubble and brew from time to time. And that's what we're going to discuss today, right? But before we do, how are you doing, my friend? We haven't seen each other in a week or so.
I love you, my friend. We have so much fun. Just forget the podcast. We'll just sit here and talk. We have so much fun talking to each other. And I know how you feel. Jamie's out filming a commercial today, and Kenny is out meeting with some prominent people, and Amy is teaching. And oh my goodness, that when you prepare your kids and they go out and they do good in the world, doesn't it just make you feel wonderful? Ah,
does.
my life is
Uh,
great. The project we've been working on will save a lot of lives, and I'm so excited to be a part of it. So that's going on with me. And
mhm.
I'm losing weight. I am smaller than I've been in 30 years.
Woo!
I did
I mean,
have a med
that alone, we could spend the whole podcast talking about that, but,
yeah,
we'll move on to the
yeah,
brew.
moving on, moving on. I had a medical scare, but it turned out to be nothing. I prayed about it and I thought about it, and I'm just gonna trust the Lord. Turned out to be nothing, and I'm so glad. And I'm doing some videos that I love on my Facebook page, so life is good. But here's my problem, and you gotta help me with this, Julene. We gotta fix it. You gotta help me. After I slide into my recliner with some hot tea, my TV loves to show a parade of idiots. And when I can't take it any longer, I get up and I scare Ron by screaming at the TV. I've always been the kind of person that offers a solution. And I believe it's impossible to say that you love a group of people, yet you turn a blind eye to their suffering. You can't love them if you're okay with their suffering. And if you love them or simply care about humanity, you will do all you can to protect them and be good to them. That's the solution. That's the plan. That's how become a good person, right? But
Mhm.
slap my face, I finally get it. I can see the Democratic Party. Now, I'm not talking about Democrat individuals, I'm talking about the party. And as a party, the Dems have shown their real face, and I'm stunned that anyone wants to be around them or claim to be a Democrat. They don't know, apparently. I don't know how, but apparently the Dems as a party doesn't know that we have eyes. And we saw them sitting at the State of the Union address when President Trump said to the seated crowd, I'm sure we all believe in the fundamental principle that the first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, right? I heard that. And all the Republicans jumped up and stood and applauded, and the Democrats remained seated. And not only remained seated, they looked mad and angry and shouted and eventually had a tense exchange with other members. I, some people with a D by their name do have a brain, I'm sure. Fetterman comes to mind. He is not into everything, but the evil party, the main party, is spewing hatred and anger, and they just get into they want to support the criminals and just throw the Americans away. And Fetterman seems pretty smart guy, and he goes against them on some things, but he's just not smart enough to walk away from the morons. Help me, Julene. I can see them, and I'm smelling the swamp creature.
You're smelling the swamp creatures. Well, that's funny, Debbie. I mean, it feels like so much has happened since the State of the Union address. I mean, what was that, just like 7 days ago or so? I think you might have to get that Pepto Bismol that you was talking
Have a
about.
bottle, man. Have a bottle.
I mean, I think we all needed it after, or well, to watch. You're right. To watch, half of Congress, it seemed like, acting in ways that I think
Yeah.
were really troubling. I just think that just disrespect for the office alone as he entered, and most of them, the Democrats, remained seated. They were on their phones. They were huddled into each other, talking to each other, and even ultimately shouting back at him. And the one guy, I think last year he had to be removed. He was removed again this year. Within the first few minutes. And so but I thought the speech itself was brilliantly executed. President Trump, I think
I
he
agree.
did. He exposed those members of Congress that you just have to say they're hostile to freedom and to common sense. I think at one point he called them crazy. You're crazy. But he put them on record, didn't he? And
Yes.
this is
Yes, he
the
did.
brilliant thing that he did throughout the speech. He put them on record as supporting the notion that illegal immigrants' needs outweigh the safety and protection of the American citizens. And I thought it was, did you notice the little lady in red who sat on the Democrat side that every time, everyone stood to clap, she would stand,
Yeah.
but it emphasized all the D's sitting. And she's a representative from Florida, Kat Kamick, and she said that I wanted to lead by example, that when it comes to America, we don't sit on our hands, we rise to our feet in protecting our citizens, and
I
that
didn't know
we as
she said that. That is great.
this is what she got a lot of attention afterwards, on, social media because she was so visible, because she was the only one that stood up on that side, and she had this bright red suit. I mean, she was really wanting to make a point. But, she said, "We should be, of all people, united as representatives, for America, that we should want to, secure our borders and have a strong economy and set standards for safer communities." And so she said, when you're trying to set higher standards in a nation, that means that, you got to stand up. You got to be willing to put some skin in the game. And that when we're in need as American citizens, we've got to rise to the challenge. So she was visually showing that example of rising every time, President Trump was talking about things that are working in our country now. And so I thought it was really, it was good stunt on her part. But didn't you love how all of his family was there? They always are, but his
Yeah.
beautiful family, his son and Melania and all the children, a few grandchildren there, standing and supporting, and loving on their father. Beautiful example of that's what families do. We're there for each other in our hours of need.
Yes, I love that, and you can tell that they all love him and that
Yeah.
they all are very proud of their dad, and that means a lot. But Julian, you brought up something that, I hadn't even thought about. Maybe the reason I have been so upset since the State of the Union and the few things that I've seen that have come out after that. Now, I didn't see about the, lady that you talked about. I remember watching her, but how wonderful that she was trying to set an example and trying to
Yeah.
help show what was going on, and maybe subconsciously, I picked up on a lot of that. When you see the direct opposition and you know which side is trying to be good and do the right thing, that is gonna bring up emotions inside of you. So thank you, Julene. Again, you're helping me always. I get a little crazy and Julene says, "No, no, no, dear, calm down. It's okay."
Well, I love people that can give me an example of, you know, doing some good. I
Yeah,
like it when people stand for right behavior because it spurs within me. It was just a little thing she did, but it was very effective.
yes, and the thing I'm sitting here thinking about now is that maybe a lot of people, Republicans and Democrats and moderates and middle of the road and independents, whatever, watching that saw the difference and it is going to change their mind about how they feel.
Yeah,
Because all you have to do to decide that you don't like somebody, say, even walking through Walmart, is see them slap their child. And, that's a visual that stays with you for days after that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
when we see the opposition played out in the physical realm, it's going to have a bigger impact on us. What do you think about that?
Yeah, yeah. I I think so, Just her saying, "We don't sit on our hands, we rise up. We rise to our feet when there's
Yeah.
a need and there's worry and concern. We just don't because we don't like certain people, we just look the other way, at the suffering. No, there is suffering, there are issues. We need to rise up and do something.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
can all work together. It doesn't just have to come down to, where you stand politically will decide on whether I wanna get involved in a cause,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and and
Well, the
and
other,
that
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, the other thing that grabbed me was afterwards when I saw that a lot of the squad and those kind of people, and I think on The View, they were, eulogizing the Ayatollah and
Yeah.
talking about, "Well, he was a good man and he led the country." I I'm sorry, no, I've read enough about him. He was not. He ordered beheadings and murdered women and children, and here in the last, after, some of the protests came about, he went in and killed men, women, and children in hospital beds. He ordered that
Ugh.
they be murdered while they were trying to recover, and I'm breathing, Julene, I'm trying, but,
Ooh, ooh.
I'm like you, watching the State of the Union was so beautifully done with the soldier that kept going and kept flying the plane, even though his legs were shot up. And here he was trying to stand up in the
Mm.
balcony and he received the Medal of Honor. And I watched his hands on the crutches that he was holding on to, or the walker. They were getting wider and wider because he was just holding on, trying to stand up, and all of the Democrats were sitting. It was a vivid contrast of what do we want? Erica Kirk that came out, good things that came out, and you just want to go, wow, this is fantastic. Now they did all stand for the um, hockey team that came out. They did all stand for that, and okay. But I think our patriotism and our love of country should come out above all. What do you think?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the stories he told of heroism and courage and tragedy and the resiliency of the human soul and family, I mean, they were so endearing. And, I loved how the people were right there that he was talking about and how
Yeah.
they were acknowledged in that gallery. It was a beautiful thing to see. It was inspirational. Even through their heartbreak, they were standing and they were there and they showed up. And, have you been to that house gallery in Washington, DC? Congress
No,
in
but,
Washington?
you're gonna take me one day, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you come to the National Day of Prayer, March 17th, we're having all kind of
We'll
celebrations
be
for our
there.
250th anniversary. My hubby, Al, can get us into that gallery. So it's a beautiful. I mean, all the greats have, spent some time there in our history,
Yeah,
and it was great to see, and to see just true, amazing, ordinary citizens doing extraordinary things.
right. Well, let me make some personal statements here. I don't believe President Trump is a minister. He's not our pastor, but I do believe he's doing what's right. I also believe he is a good man with a tough exterior and demeanor. You don't, kind of like that tough soldier that was standing. You don't try to take him down. He's going to fight if you do that. I appreciate him pushing for the truth in Democrat run states like Minnesota. We need to get rid of crime wherever we can find it. I appreciate him putting Maduro in jail. Anyone who targets our young people with drugs should be prosecuted, and I mean anyone. I am thankful that he attacked Iran. Now, a lot of people may disagree with me on that, but the leaders there were thugs who have tortured and hurt people for over 45 years. It's time, and I'm glad that satanic person is gone. I won't make everybody sick with the things that he's done, but he was evil and he needed to be punished. And the righteous people there, whether they're Christians or not, they need to be protected. The real problem is this: only a person with an evil heart will proclaim that another person who is evil is good. It takes an evil person to elevate another evil person and say that he's good. And that bothers me. Only a person who doesn't care about good people will feel that no one is bad, because everybody has to admit that in our lifetime we are going to come across some really bad people, and we want the other people around us that are good to say, whoa, that's a bad person, get away from them. They are terrible, satanic, evil people, and you need to walk away. I appreciate that. And that is all that I think President Trump is trying to do. He's trying to say, let's have peace around the world. Let's get rid of people who hurt and kill and murder their citizens. We got to change that. Let's get rid of the drugs. We got to change that. And I appreciate that. And I want to have a safe and prosperous life. And that means we cannot tolerate evil people. What do you think, Julie?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, no one likes war, right? And we all kinda like, ugh, clutched our bosoms, as my mother would say, when we heard that, the first attacks had been launched. But we know, just like you've highlighted, that that Iranian regime has been evil for decades. And, we can't allow evil to continue like that because ultimately it threatens, you know, good people around the world, threatens our allies, and ultimately weakens our country. And so, I think I heard some people saying, well, why are we getting involved? Is it Israel? Are we fighting a war that they should be fighting? And I think President Trump is being very strategic here too. I mean, energy is a big part of, the ability for evil to continue, right? And
Right.
if President Trump can cut off the oil supply, from China, like he cut it off, they were getting their oil from Venezuela and cut it off from Iran. He's looking at the big picture here. I mean, this is strategic stuff. If he can stop their ability to get energy, he can stop their ability to spread communism and all the evils that go along with those kind of regimes. So, the question is, well, how long are we going to be there, right? President Trump said 5 weeks. I hope so. How can we go about helping them, put better people in office without deploying our troops on the ground? And that's the challenge. I'm praying that that can be done within 5 weeks, because we all remember Afghanistan when President Bush in 2002, 2003 went in after 9/11, and it took 9 years before President Obama ended it, and over, some say up to 1 million people, casualties on all sides. So, these are frightening times, but the thing I love about President Trump is, his leadership is not just about being in charge, but it's about taking care of the people that you're in charge of. And he loves America. You hear that, you feel that. He loves our country. He loves those founding fathers and the principles. I mean, he wants to have a huge celebration, this year, celebrating, our beautiful nation. But he is an American first president, isn't he? And
Oh,
he
yeah.
he really he clearly cares more about the citizens than the illegals or the criminals, that are infiltrating our country and the world. And so he understands we can't leave evil unchecked, because ultimately it will harm us. And so I'm praying for a quick resolution here. But, I think he said, "Look," to the Iranians, you're only gonna get, this kinda chance, every couple decades, we're moving your evil leaders now, get the right people in, so to speak. And so we will be praying on this one, right? We
Right.
we want them to succeed. We want the Iranian people to rise up. I mean, we're seeing rallies in front of the White House right now, American Iranians that are just couldn't be more happy and supporting, the actions that are taking place by removing, that Ayatollah, from their nation. And so prayers up, prayers for President Trump too.
Yes, yes, we must be praying for him, and I think a lot of people are. Thank you for that, Julene. I really appreciate it. You always calm me down when you share your thoughts. Okay, getting back to normal now. My tip for today is for all our listeners to do their homework. Get the facts about each party and then sit back and go over and over and over and over the facts until you are sure who represents the good that God gave America. Don't listen to bad people. Reach for the good that made this country and blessed each one of us. Ask yourself, who is going to take care of the innocent and work for the faithful and honest? Who are the real helpers and who loves America and the American people? Once you've done that, then you pray. Pray in the morning, pray at lunch, pray at supper, and then before you go to bed, pray. And what should you pray for? That good people will fight for America and go after evil and make sure evil can't hurt Americans. Pray for good, honest, Jesus loving leaders who want the best for Americans. When you do that, and when
Mhm.
God blesses America with good Christian people in office, then the only thing that then only then, excuse me, I'm thinking way ahead of myself. Only then can we be truly free and happy. I believe that with all my heart.
Yeah, I do too, Deb. Edmund Burke, he nailed it when he said the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. So
Amen.
we have a president who is rising up and is doing something. And, whether it's a national leader or just us individually today, the happiest people I know are those that are giving back to life at all levels, right? They fall asleep exhausted at night because they have worked, they have served, they have helped, they've wanted to be a part of the solution, not the problem. And so, even if you're going through a hard time right now, and our nation is going through a hard time, Winston Churchill, I heard or read the other day, said, if you're going through hell, keep going. You don't quit. And, oftentimes, we might be feel like we're in that bubbling witch's brew right
Yeah.
now, smelling the fumes of the swamp creatures or whatever, but we need to be the change that we
Yeah.
hope to see in the world and acknowledge we live in the freest, most prosperous, most beautiful place in the world, and so it's a gift, right? So we need to make the most of it. Make the most of the cards that you've been dealt with. If you're going through hell, keep going, and the Lord will provide a way. He'll provide a way for this nation that was founded on him, one nation under God, and he will provide a way for us individually within the four walls of our home. So that's all I got today, Deb.
Well, boy, that's good, Julene. That's good. Thank you so much. Well, I hope our listeners will feel better about why I was upset and why I'm feeling better now, Julene. Thank you so much. I hope our listeners will see both parties and have a better grasp of how to vote and make our country better. We need to get busy doing that, don't we, Julene?
We do.
God bless America. So, subscribe to this podcast and join us again. You can ask a question. Please leave us some questions, leave us some comments. We'll spend a whole show on those comments or questions, won't we, Julene?
Well,
Yes, you can ask a question or request that we dig into a specific topic by writing Debbie at debbiejansen.com. And thanks again to our wonderful producer, Ken Jansen. This is Debbie Jansen, and I'm sticking to the truth, Julie.
and I'm Julene Jackson, and we hope that you will keep sticking to the truth with us. We will see you next time.
Bye bye.